Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today we're talking about fast thinking and how that causes stress, but actually with a lot of hope, because I think maybe in the world right now there's a lot of people who are thinking very fast. I think quite fast, and I do quite fast, and I speak quite fast a lot of the time. Less getting slower, gently, gradually getting slower. So if you think about it, it's really analogous with driving. This is we all know why there are speed limits, folks, don't we? Much as we may not always stick to them. Although I will probably, I'm going to share the revelation we've had about speed limits, but yeah, it really fits with this. You know, if we are going at 20 miles an hour, we can stop really easily. If a child runs out in front of us, we can think, you know, we can drive with real control and avoid. No, I don't imagine many accidents happen at 20 miles an hour just because we're not going so fast. We don't have to think so fast to keep up with the pace at which we are driving. Now, of course, as our speed goes up, our ability to think straight and act quickly enough and do everything we need to do reduces. Now, isn't that interesting? As I'm saying that, I'm thinking, oh yes, because we think that if we're thinking faster, we're getting more done, we're busy, there's all that business stuff, isn't there? But actually, because when you're slower, you just have a bit more time to contemplate. You're less likely to do things wrong that then you have to spend time on doing. You're more likely to have that space to consider things. You're less likely to be in that reacting space where you're snapping, because that's what it feels like when you're driving at speed, isn't it? You've got to be like really on it. It's the same when you're thinking fast. You have to be almost, again, it's like those heads bobbing up and you've got to be really quickly hitting them down again. And they're bobbing up really, really fast, and it looks like you've got to keep hitting them down again. Now, interestingly, we've had a bit of a revelation, which I'll share with you here, because we're all looking at the price of things and how to make things work better and spend less money at the moment, that actually a car, no matter which car you've got really, is most economical at 58 miles per hour. So we were on the motorway the other day and I was encouraging my fiance to drive at 58 miles an hour. He didn't particularly like it to start with, but then his car is really clever and it tells you how many miles you're getting to the gallon. And the difference between driving at 70 miles an hour and 58 was about 10 miles per gallon more, which actually is a lot when you think about it. So it's to do with the revs, really. It's not really to do with the speed. So it's staying between 1300 and 1500 revs. Now that Bruce has an awareness that that's a fuel saving thing, and it's going to save us a lot of money, particularly when we're driving the motorhome, which is much less fuel economic than Bruce's car, is like he's now looking towards doing that more. Now, isn't that interesting in terms of when we think about our thinking, is that actually we just have to start seeing how much better we work when we're not so speeded up. sped up. I don't care. That's where that noticing, when we start to notice. So a few things happen. Noticing is the awareness. Noticing is the superpower. That is the thing that really does help us the most, I think, out of anything in the whole wide world. Better than any tool or technique or therapy or anything else, just awareness. Because if first of all, there's the noticing at how fast we're thinking, and understanding that it isn't the outside world where we might think we've got lots of things to sort out and lots of things to do in order to feel okay. It's not that that's creating that stressed feeling. It's the speed at which we are thinking. So that's the first kind of awareness. It's just beginning to see that it isn't the outside world, and this is just a thing that we learn by spending time with me. You can do that, but it's a thing that we're learning. We're learning that the world works inside out. We are not the ones. We're not receiving our feelings from the outside. We're not receiving stress from the outside at all. But if we've got very fast thinking, that will feel stressful. No two ways about it. Or anxious, but then, 6 and 2 3s, I say. It will feel unpleasant. Let's just put it that way. So that's the first awareness, is knowing that there's a connectivity here, a connection between the speed of my thinking and how stressed I feel. And we can start to see that right now. Because just, if you just notice for a moment how sped up your thinking is, maybe while you're listening to this, you're getting ready for the day, or you've got it playing in the background while your kids are doing your head in. I've been there, by the way, folks. Or any of that. Then, just notice that. Just notice that for a minute. Noticing the speed of your thinking, and noticing that as you stop and just become aware, this is the next thing, as you stop for a moment, just for a moment, and just notice, what you will also notice is that the speed of your thinking will immediately slow down, because you're not in it quite so much. You've created some distance. You're in the awareness space rather than in the thick of it space. The thick of it space is very, very persuasive as a place to live our lives, but actually it's that awareness. And it's very similar to what Eckhart Tolle says about the present moment. It's the moment you notice you're not in the present moment, you naturally fall into it. And this is very similar. It's just, and I think it's knowing when to do that, when to stop and just give yourself a minute. Well, because you feel flipping awful. You feel awful. You will be, if you feel your thinking's very fast, you will be feeling stressed out. But when you stop and you just take a moment to notice that, it is literally like noticing the speed sign, and your speedometer is, whoa, hello. Oh, I better put my brakes on. Mr. Policeman might catch me, or speed camera, or whatever. Of course, we shouldn't need speed cameras and policemen to do the speed limit, but that's a whole other story. But when we notice the speed of our own thinking, we just naturally put the brake on. We don't even need to put the brake on. It's like there's some automatic brake inside us, and it just slows down. And that's also powerful in terms of seeing that you have this connection to the present moment that's there all the time. And actually just stopping for a minute. And that's my thing that I do. But actually just stopping for a minute is about helping you to see how that works. It is a thing to do, but it's a thing to help you see. And when you just do that for a moment, you will notice. You'll notice briefly how fast your thinking is, but very quickly you'll notice how it just slows down. We just don't work well when we're sped up. It's like, often people in my community talk about the the snow globe, and the snow globe's got all the snow whizzing around in it. Well, you don't just you've got to stop. You've got to stop. You've got to let it settle. If you keep shaking it, it's just going to stay shaken up. And you're the same. You're the same. If you keep going, keep going, keep going, keep thinking, keep talking fast. I've been quite slow today, I think, haven't I? Not been too fast. You will notice that you are, when you stop, you'll just notice that you sped up. And I'll tell you what as well, what you'll also notice is as you slow down, the feeling of stress will you'll just suddenly you'll notice your shoulders start to drop, and you'll notice your heart doesn't feel quite like it's bumping out your chest. And that's all it takes. Just a moment. Just a pause. It's so powerful. That's it, really. Fast thinking does cause stress, but there is hope in this message that it's very, very quick to be out the other side of it. Thank you, and sending lots of love.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.